This is the Google Nexus 7. It's the very first Nexus branded tablet. It's also the first device on the market to run Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. It's built by Asus, and this is the special edition model that was given away at the Google I/O Developers Conference. Power up the display briefly so you can see it. It's a 7-inch display, 800 by 1280 pixels of resolution, IPS unit. Corning glass. It doesn't specify Gorilla Glass, but I'm assuming it's probably Gorilla Glass. But let's take a look at the back of the device first. It's kind of cool looking here. You can see it's all in white. This is the special edition that was handed out at the Google I/O conference this year, where the device was launched alongside of Android 4.1. It has a white, not quite soft touch. It's plastic, but it's a little bit soft to it somehow. I'm not sure how to describe it. It could just be the dimpling here, a little bit finer than you would see on a golf ball. Of course, it says Nexus right across here. Power standby and volume rocker buttons. There's the speaker port in the back. Not fantastic sound coming out of that when you're trying to play music or anything like that. Asus logo. And if we take a look at the bottom edge here, you can see there's a 3.5mm headphone jack and a micro USB charging and data port. Quite fond of the fact that it has micro USB for charging. It's infinitely more convenient when you're traveling. Nothing too much else to see on the device in terms of hardware controls, although you might have noticed up top here the light sensor and the 1.2 megapixel forward-facing camera. There is no rear-facing camera on this device. There's also no micro SD memory card expansion slot. You have to rely on either 8 gig or 16 gigs of internal storage. This particular model has 8 gig, limited to 8 gig for the I/O event, but you can get it in 16 gig versions elsewhere when it goes on sale for $200. Let's take a look at some of the other features. Of course, this is Android 4.1. It doesn't look all that much different from Ice Cream Sandwich when you just first glance at it. But you'll notice that it's a little more phone-like than honeycomb-type UIs have been in the past. Still have the same controls down the bottom, but they're located in the center just like they would be on a phone as opposed to in the lower left-hand corner. The controls across the bottom, you have the main app tray there, as well as shortcuts, which is something you see on the phones, but you didn't see on Honeycomb. Also, the notification area is now up at the top. It is no longer down at the bottom. In addition to it being at the top, you have fewer controls than you used to have. You used to have access to, in addition to settings and screen rotation lock, which is still there, you would be able to change brightness settings and turn Wi-Fi on and off and things like that. Pretty much now you're just limited to rotation and going to settings. That button there clears all of the different notifications, which you can swipe away. But one of the really cool things with the notification system is that it now supports expandable notifications. You see that's a screenshot I captured right here. Some Gmail messages, and if I scroll back you can see there's an AIM message as well. It's already expanded since it's just a single message, but I could make it smaller as well. Whether the messages in the notification area come up expanded or not depends on how many they are and what it thinks is most important and how much room you've got. So in any case, you can always swipe them away, and that's very useful. This is the Google Cards system right here. It's telling me that it's 87 degrees and clear, where I'm currently located in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. Cards will also show up for things that Google Now, the new system that powers it, thinks is important, such as your morning commute if it sees that there's excessive traffic or things like that, or show you sports scores if you're always checking up on, say, like the Phillies games or things like that. I'll show you some other cool features of it a little bit later. Before I show off any more of the user interface enhancements in Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, I want to talk a little bit more about the hardware. Powering the device, we've got an NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core processor. It's ARM A9 architecture, a little bit older than what you see in the latest version of Snapdragons, but still quite fast and seemingly pretty power efficient. The device weighs 340 grams and it measures about 10.5 millimeters in thickness. To give you a bit better idea what that means in terms of size, this is the Amazon Kindle Fire sitting on top of it. The Nexus 7 is ever so slightly longer, same width, and a little bit thinner than the Kindle Fire. And this is Samsung's Galaxy Tab 2 7.0. And again, the Nexus is slightly longer, actually a little bit narrower than the Samsung, and again slightly thinner than the Samsung. One of the new things that Jelly Bean offers in terms of home screen management is the ability to just swipe off widgets that you no longer want. I'm just going to rearrange a couple here just to make a point. Of course, we have the ability to resize widgets just like we have had for some time, but I'm also going to show you that it will resize dynamically and rearrange things to make it fit. Notice how it moved those icons, and it's still too big to fit in there, but when I let go, it automatically shrinks it. Of course, that only works if the widget is capable of shrinking down to a size that actually fits, but when it does, it's quite handy. As you would expect, there's a good folder support. It's very easy to create folders. For example, if I just take this shortcut to one of the books and drag it onto the Playbooks icon, we immediately have an unnamed folder. You just tap here down at the bottom and we'll say Books. And there we are. Now, as I showed you before, if you want to get into the main menu, you access the button down the bottom as opposed to one in the upper right hand corner of the screen. One of the changes from the honeycomb look and feel we've seen in the last 2 OS revisions. Main menu is just like it was before. Widgets are organized the same way as well. There's a quick link to the Play Store up there. And so far, in my opinion, the move towards the phone style layout works really well, at least in a small tablet like this. I'm not sure how it would work in a 10-inch tablet because, unfortunately, in all the more modern applications, you've got the action bar across the top, allows you to go back different levels inside the application without using the back button and sometimes getting tossed back to the home screen, which was always kind of confusing. So you can see that the views change somewhat as you switch into landscape mode. And of course, convenient controls everywhere. Jump back to the home screen, and obviously you have controls up here at the top as well. So what's missing in the device? Actually not a heck of a lot. About the only thing in terms of software I can say that's really truly missing is that there's no application for using the camera. Now I understand that there's no rear-facing camera, and quite honestly I don't want to encourage people walking around holding a tablet in front of their faces taking photos. But since you already have the forward-facing camera, it would be nice to allow people to snap quick self-portraits, whatever. As it stands though, you can only use the forward-facing camera in Google Talk Chat or Skype or Hangouts on Google Plus or something like that. There's no ability to snap photos. Otherwise, not really missing too much. It's pretty much a slam dunk. It's the best Android tablet I've worked with by far. Really low price point, really high performance level, and I'm actually quite a fan of the smaller tablet sizes, the 7 and 8 inch tablets. So really something that I can support, and I own a Kindle Fire, as you saw earlier, and this is by far much more my speed. Maybe a little more complicated than the Kindle Fire, but definitely much more powerful for the same price. So there you go. That is the Google Nexus 7 by Asus.